All right, so the secret is out. Wholesaling is one of the fastest growing ways to make big money in real estate.
We've made $421,000 so far in 2021 wholesaling real estate, but we're not doing it in a conventional way. Check out how we do it.
So let's start with the basics. What is wholesaling and how is it normally done? Wholesaling is when you connect a buyer and a seller. You find a seller who's willing to sell their property at somewhat of a discount. You also find a buyer who's willing to pay a certain price for that property. The difference between those two prices is what you, the wholesaler, make as profit.
So how is wholesaling normally done? Well, wholesaling in tradition is usually done through expensive direct-to-seller marketing methods, such as cold calling, door knocking, sending out mailers, sending out street crews, or bird dogs is what they call them. These are all the traditional methods of wholesaling, and to be quite honest, it takes a lot of money, but more importantly, a lot of time and a lot of knowledge to be a successful wholesaler.
So what we've done is we found a totally creative way to wholesale homes, very different from our competition, and most importantly, it doesn't require a lot of upfront investment in marketing.
No, it really doesn't. But before we jump into our secrets and show our strategy to you, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We want to share our knowledge not only with you, but for all those other people on YouTube looking to invest in real estate and learn the business as well.
Come on guys, help us grow the channel. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about, again, the MLS, or the multiple listing service. Now I wanna mention, if you're not a realtor, then if you wanna wholesale homes, you may have to resort to cold calling, door knocking, and mailing. Those may be some of your only options. And those aren't bad, but you need to understand you're gonna have to have a little bit of a learning curve in order to get going.
Yeah, one other way is to partner with the realtor, right? You could partner with a realtor who has access to the MLS and still run the same strategy.
Very true.
Now, our acquisition strategy, as you may know if you watched our channel before, is we buy almost all of our properties directly from the multiple listing service. Out of the 60 to 75 properties we flip a year, a majority of those are directly off the MLS. And this is very, very different than the traditional wholesale strategy. Being able to utilize MLS has given us the opportunity to chase 100% of the properties that are actively listed currently in the Las Vegas area. Now, our acquisitions team, they perfected offering on these properties. These are properties that are older and dated, maybe distressed, or they're really not as obvious as you think they would be, but it's a numbers game. We're submitting offers all day, every day on these properties that are currently listed. And you know, most people and most gurus around the internet will say it's impossible to make money off the MLS properties, or there's no margins to be made on a property that's listed on the market. And to be honest, it's simply not true.
Ever since we have incorporated this MLS wholesale strategy into our business, it's paid off big time. So what I find really cool about this strategy is the fact that we've been able to wholesale certain properties, again, right off the MLS, but most of these properties would never even be considered by most wholesalers, and that's what makes this one a perfect avenue for us to jump right into. And now what we've been able to do is pour a little fuel on that fire and wholesale probably 10 to 15 properties a year with this direct method.
Yeah, there's some big money behind it. And when we talk big money, we actually just did our biggest MLS wholesale deal this year in 2021. Let's talk a little bit about how we found that deal, what the profits were in it, and how we got that thing sold.
We're really excited to share this wholesale deal with you and kind of break it down about how we made this deal happen. But for starters, let's start off with the property. Take a look at this house right here. First of all, it's in an excellent area. It's in a highly sought after, high-end guard-gated community in Henderson. Take a look at its original condition when we bought it. This house was built in the year 2000, and when we found it, it still had all of its original finishes and was long overdue for a renovation.
So this is the deal that our acquisitions team submitted offers on. These guys are submitting offers all day, every day. This particular home was listed at $1.825 million. So our team was able to negotiate the purchase price down from $1.825 million to $1.675 million, and that's where we ended up closing this property at.
We needed to close that property because we saw an ARV of around 2.5 million.
Right, it started at 2.5 and our original rehab budget for the property was $300,000. So this was a property that we intended on purchasing to flip. As we do all the deals we lock up, we always do our due diligence on the properties. We lock them up under contract, we put our contractors in there to give us an estimate for repairs, and then after that point is when we can make our final decision. Do we buy the property or do we wholesale the property?
So Landon mentioned locking up properties and due diligence period. And what those mean for those who may not know is that when we lock up a property, we're simply in contract. Going into contract does mean you need to put a deposit down or an earnest money deposit, and that deposit is simply agreed upon by both parties. It's very regular that could be $1,000, $5,000, or anywhere up to $10,000. That's very common.
When I'm talking about due diligence on a property, that's a time frame and standard for our practice, 7 to 10 days time from when the contract is executed that we have to perform any inspections that we want to perform on the property. If we decide to cancel the contract within that due diligence period, we get all of our earnest money deposit back, no harm, no foul.
So really, it's just a simple period of time where we need to make a decision.
Okay, so let's go to the next steps of the deal. We have it in contract currently at $1.675 million, and we think the resale value on it is currently at $2.5 million.
Right. Now, it's not very uncommon for us to have other investors in town approach us since they know that we and our business flip a large numbers of deals here in Las Vegas. So that's exactly what happened in this scenario. Another investor who had been looking for a large luxury property to flip approached us during our due diligence period, which got our wheels turning.
Call it the right place, the right time. But it just so happens when we were in our due diligence, which was a 10-day due diligence for this property, another very similar home in the neighborhood had sold at $3 million, $500,000 more than we initially thought the home was worth.
So that raised our attention a little bit. Now our home is worth so much more money, we may have an opportunity to not go ahead and flip the whole project, which would take maybe 9 months to complete, and wholesale it instead to another investor, take a huge profit with almost no risk.
One of the most important factors when wholesaling a property, whether from the MLS or traditionally, is leaving enough room on the margins for an end investor to still make their money. When this other property sold for $3 million, that's what gave us enough room to be able to think about the wholesale exit. It gave us the room to sell it to someone else.
Right, so always leaving enough meat on the bone for that next investor. That was a great little nugget. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a nugget just like that. We ended up deciding to offer this wholesale opportunity to that investor that approached us. And what we did was we offered it at a price of about $2.1 million. But keep in mind, just based off what you just said, that still left a spread of $900,000 for that investor to renovate it and still make profit.
Yeah, plenty of room on the bone there for them to still make money, and we got to make ours too. After some negotiating, we ended up landing on a price of $2,012,500, which in turn, if you do the math, gave us a $337,500 wholesale fee. That's a monster wholesale fee on this deal.
Not bad.
And best part about it, no risk involved. We closed in 14 days time.
So this was amazing, and this was our largest wholesale fee to date. But throughout the year of 2021, we've done another handful of wholesale deals of varying prices, and so far have recorded $421,000 in wholesale profits. Now that's not too bad when you consider that these wholesales take about 14 days on average to close. That actually comes out to $4,300 per day. In my opinion, that's not bad for wholesaling as a side business.
No, I don't think it gets much better than that. Risk-free, quick cash. So if you're not experienced enough to cold call or spend that amount of money on direct-to-seller marketing, MLS acquisitions is a really good way to create an income for yourself at a very low cost.
You can actually get your realtor's license for a very low cost, depending on what state you're in. And if you don't even want to do that, you can always partner with a realtor too, which is absolutely free.
What we're trying to teach you is how to get invested into real estate. There's so many different creative ways. Not a lot of people know about MLS wholesaling, but it's something that's become a practice of ours with every deal.
Right. We find most of our flip deals off the MLS. We also find almost all of our wholesale deals off the MLS. So we've learned to really make the MLS a big part of our business.
And you can too. If you have any questions on wholesaling from the MLS, obtaining your real estate license, or anything involved with flipping and investing in real estate, drop a comment below. We're always happy to help and answer questions.
Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video, and until then,
We'll see you on the flip side.